Hey guys, I'm a Forester here. I did one of these storytime videos a couple of weeks ago, and it went over fairly well, I thought. So I thought I'd do it again. That first video was about the handgun that I purchased from a gravedigger. If you didn't watch that, you can go back and look at that video. But this one will also be about a handgun, but I'm going to touch on a lot of other things, and eventually I'll get to the handgun. One of the things I'll be touching on is this coffee that I'm drinking. But my wife and I just got back from church and Costco. Now those aren't the same thing, church and Costco. So we normally go to Costco after church. But our church has been shut down for the last 2 weeks because of an outbreak. We had about 17 people come down with the situation, and one unfortunately passed away. So I have lost somebody now that I was familiar with, closely familiar with. So it's a serious situation. I will second that. But we haven't been able to attend in person for the last 2 weeks. But fortunately, our service is broadcast on TV. But today was the first day they invited people back. Now our church will hold 3,300 people. And before the outbreak, we were having about 400 people attend. Today, I estimated there was maybe 200, so not quite so many people are comfortable going back. But I'll put a little video clip at the end of this video that I took just looking at the sanctuary during the service, so you can judge for yourself whether you think it's dangerous or not. I feel perfectly safe. Now, after church, like I mentioned, we go to Costco, and I went there on a mission because I love a product that they sell at Costco, and it's this one right here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's Cowboy Caviar, made by Menino Brothers. And I need to put this back in the refrigerator as soon as I get through with this video. But that is a fantastic product, and it makes every meal. So if a meal especially is a little bit bland, you can put a spoonful of that and it livens up the meal. I'm not a sponsor of that in any way. I just enjoy it, and so every time we run out, we go back by Costco and pick some up. So that was the reason for the Costco visit. Now, I did want to mention coffee, and I'll get to the handgun in just a minute, but I'm drinking a new coffee for me. This is the very first time that I've tried it, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about it. I didn't purchase it, it was free, but it came in a packet like this, so it was just a sample to make 1 pot of coffee. The name of the company is Dare County, I guess. This is called Black and Tan, and it's a blend of Costa Rican, Colombian, and Sumatran coffees. This is the card that came with it. You can pause and read that. And then here's what's on the back. So they've been in business. It's run by a family since 1993. And the first impression I had was that it was a flavored coffee. Now they say they have flavored coffees, but supposedly this isn't flavored. I don't care for flavored coffees. I've said that on my channel a good bit, so I think you know that. And but it's not bad, but it just has a slight flavor to it, and I can't identify what that flavor is. Maybe something like pecan. But anyway, I'll tell you by the end of the video how I feel about it, besides it being flavored. So the main point of this video is about my very first handgun. And it's in this box over here. And it's been in this box ever since I've had it. It's an old shoe box, I guess. I guess that's what it came in. And in here is a whole assortment of things, everything black powder, from the patch material and the caps and some cleaning fluid and black powder. But this is the gun right here. Now, I've done a video on this gun early on in my channel's history. I had to look and look and look to find it myself. But this is a 45 caliber black powder pistol. He shoots percussion caps, and I have some of those. But I have a story for how I got this gun, and so I want to go into that before I show that around too much. So that gun, I didn't buy it, it was a gift. It was a gift from my mother. And in preparation and thinking through what I wanted to talk about on this video, it occurred to me that my mother was the source of three of my passions, at least three. One is handguns. So she gave me my very first handgun, and if you watch my channel, you know how that has blossomed. She also got me into motorcycling. She suggested when I graduated from high school that I buy a motorcycle for transportation, and she lent me the money to buy the motorcycle. So I've had two motorcycles in my life, and I've really enjoyed it. The last one was a Goldwing Aspencade, and my wife and I toured at least, I think, 11 states on vacation by motorcycle. We were going to tour all 50, but we got sidetracked along the way. Actually, our daughter was born along the way. And the third thing that she got me into and gave me a passion for was music, and especially the piano. But so anyway, I really attribute a lot to my mom. I owe her a lot, and she deserves better than she's getting right now in a nursing home where we can't visit. But there is a story about this pistol right here and how I got it. And it's tied to a man by the name, I'll just call him Wayne. So Wayne was an older gentleman that lived in a farming community. Actually, it was an area in western North Carolina called Happy Valley. You can Google that and get an idea where it was. But Wayne was a bachelor. He lived with his sister and the family homestead in the valley. Neither one, I don't think, had ever been married. And Wayne was a gun aficionado. So he had a little bit of a reputation for being an expert on black powder rifles. And he would go to black powder shooting matches regionally in eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina and maybe down in Georgia. And he was a crack shot. He, more often than not, brought home the bacon, or the side of the beef was the typical prize for winning his age group. So Wayne would take a young man who could drive. That was a key point. You had to be able to drive. But he would take a young man under his wing and teach him how to shoot black powder rifles. So he would serve as a mentor for young men in the community. Well, for several years, and I can't pinpoint it exactly, the only thing I know is I did have a driver's license because I could drive. But for several years there, as an older teen, I was his understudy and would drive him around to black powder matches around the South. So he had a cow pasture in his backyard. He had a shooting bench, and we would spend hours down there shooting his rifles. And it was a real learning experience. And the story I wanted to tell, and I have a photo here of at the end of that shooting match, was I took him to a shooting match at Cataloochee. And he had been going there for years. It was my turn to drive him, so I would drive and he would take all his gear. In return, he would let me shoot his gear in the match. So he was shooting his age group, which I don't know how old Wayne was. He seemed ancient back then, but looking at this picture that I'm going to show you, I think he might be about the same age that I am right now. So you can judge for yourself when you see the picture. So it was a very interesting match, and it was the best that I had ever done in a competition like that. So the way a match worked was you would pay for a target. Now, and you would shoot that target, three shots at each target, and you could buy as many targets as you wanted. My very first target of the day, and I don't remember how much they cost, but I'm frugal now, and I was frugal back then. So what I did is I bought one target, and you would put your X, so it would have a bullseye on the target, but if you know anything about black powder rifles, it's hard to shoot a bullseye, but you can learn where, based on the wind and everything else, where it might land. And so you would put your X on the piece of paper where you thought it was going to land. And that's where they measured from with the 3 rounds. And so I made my mark on the target. They went and mounted it, and I shot my 3 rounds, and it was an excellent group. So I don't remember it. I wish I had saved that target, but it was an excellent group, and I immediately went to the top of the leaderboard for my age class, which was probably teenager. Well, there was an Indian young man, Indian boy, who typically won that teenager age group. He was a Cherokee Indian. And he proceeded, he was determined, and he had money. So he was determined to win again, and he shot all day long. And I would follow him and see how he had done, and every once in a while he would have a target that would almost catch mine. And I didn't shoot again, so I shot 1 target that whole day basically. And so it came right down to the very end of the day, and he shot a target that beat mine. And I immediately went to try to get another target, but I couldn't beat it again. And so I ended up coming in 2nd place, which was fine. That was, you know, 1st or 2nd was good in that type of competition. But he was very determined to win, and he did. So, but it cost him. I don't know how much money he spent. But this is so Wayne won his division, and this was a celebratory picture that was taken of Wayne and a group of people that went with us. And I'll show you this picture right here. Okay. I think Wayne looks about the same age that I am right now, probably 65 years old. So my mom, when it came my birthday, she went to Wayne and asked Wayne if he would make a handgun for me. And he bought this kit, and it's made by Jukar is the brand of the kit, and it comes from Spain. But anyway, I'll just give you a closer look at it. Now, Wayne wasn't a detail person, and if you look at this hammer and how it's carved out, he couldn't get it to fit that nipple very well, and so he just carved away from the hammer until it did. That's .45 caliber. And here's the writing on the barrel. Maybe you'll be able to see that I was reading. All right, and there were some other goodies that mean as much to me as that Wayne made. So a little starter to get the ball started, a mallet, handmade, and then a ramrod. So I've had all this over the years. I haven't fired it in ages, but one of these days I might get it out and go try to fire it again. So that's my pistol story. That was my very first pistol that I've ever received. And the rest is history, as they say. Now, I want to get back to the coffee. This coffee is not, it's not my favorite coffee by any means. And I will say it's a fairly strong coffee. So I made 1 pot, shared it with my wife, and I've got a little bit left over here that I'll finish off. It's getting a little bit later in the day for me to be drinking coffee. But if it wasn't flavored, I think I would like this a lot better. The flavoring, and it's more of a pecan. I've had something that was like pecan flavored coffee, and it has sort of that same taste to it. I don't really care for it, but you might. So look up that, it's called Door County Black and Tan, and it's doorcountycoffee.com. Check them out. You might get a sample, see if you like it or not. And now stay tuned for that church video. It's just going to be about a 10 or 13 second video, and it'll show you how widely spaced we are. I think you could put, there wasn't anybody within probably 50 feet of us where we were sitting. I feel perfectly safe. But the church that we go to is First Baptist Church of Columbia. They're online, and you can check them out also if you're interested. Y'all take care.